Hello everyone, welcome back to this month's Your Opinion is Shit video, the video where I ask my patrons a question and they give me responses, and I judge whether or not their opinion sucks. This month, the question as voted on by the 10 plus patrons was, what is the worst book that they made you read in high school? We got a lot of interesting answers. This is a topic that's very near and dear to my heart because I took a lot of English classes in high school. So prepare for me to get salty. If you too want to give your opinions every month on random topics, and you want to vote on topics, follow the link in the description to my Patreon. And right there, it's right there. Go to my Patreon. Do it. You want to give me money, don't you? You want to give me money, don't you? Like and subscribe and shit. Do all that good stuff. I hate all of this. Anyway, I do like answering your questions. First we have for Kronos. Pride and Prejudice made me realize I could feel pretentiousness and boredom through the medium of flattened wood. I could not give less of a shit about these people who are so rich that their servants have servants. They come across as so out of touch with what being a normal human is to me that a basic misunderstanding of each other's feelings that threatens a relationship felt more like an inevitability rather than anything approaching a life I could relate to. Also, it was about 17 chapters too long. Pride and Prejudice is a story that I know a lot of people really like, a lot of people really hate. I'm personally just kind of, it's okay, I guess. I mean, I don't hate it like Kronos does, but it's not like a masterpiece by any means. I mean, I think that, because I think a lot of the conceit of the romance was that Elizabeth Bennet kind of chooses the man who's best for her and who isn't your typical, like, Victorian gentleman at the time. I think a lot of the idea behind Pride and Prejudice was kind of supposed to be a meta-commentary on how Victorian romance worked. That doesn't, like, make it any better when it is just a Victorian romance and nothing really much happens in the book. So it's got some merits. I don't know, not a lot happens. Not my favorite. Next for Claude. We're also going to pair Claude's with Wendy's because they are the same. Catcher in the Rye becomes more and more outdated every year, and Holden as a whiny bitch needs to take some Prozac. And Wendy says Catcher in the Rye legitimately made me depressed. I hate that book so much it's unreal. It is proto-teen angst BS, but actually written by a grown man. It's like something a 14, 15-year-old would write, but with actually decent grammar and punctuation. I bet Holden had been would be a prolific furry live journaler if he'd had access to the internet. Holy moly. Do I agree with both of you? Catcher in the Rye fucking sucks. For someone who really likes teen angst, Catcher in the Rye fucking sucks. Because Holden is absolutely abysmal as a protagonist. He sucks. He's the most unlikable protagonist you've ever met. And a lot of people who like Catcher in the Rye have literally said to me in response to this that, well, Holden's supposed to be unlikable. That's what makes the book interesting, is because he is just a whiny little teenager like most teenagers are. Yes, but that doesn't make the book fun to read. That makes the book obnoxious to read. And really makes it a fucking slog to get through. And like both Claude and Wendy said, Holden Caulfield as a protagonist is just obnoxious. He is obnoxious. And while Catcher in the Rye does have a lot going for it in the terms of what it created in the angst scene, which I specifically use a lot in my stories. I have a lot of angsty teenage characters in my stories. So technically I owe something to Catcher in the Rye, but through like third-hand knowledge, I had to read Catcher in the Rye my senior year of high school, and oh god, I did not finish it. I just BS'd my way through the last half of it because Holden is such a pretentious fucking douche canoe. So yeah, your guys' opinion, not shit. Holden Caulfield can suck a bag of dicks. Okay, next we have Davcav, who also agrees with Catcher in the Rye. But for my money, I'd go with the Red Badge of Courage. Fleming was a little shit, and it was just boring to read through. I did not have to read the Red Badge of Courage, so let's look this up. Okay, it's a war novel by American author Stephen Crane. It takes place during the American Civil War. The story is about a young private of the Union Army, Henry Fleming, who flees from the field of battle. Overcome with shame, he longs for a wound, a red badge of courage to counteract his cowardice. When his regiment once again faces the enemy, Henry acts as a flag bearer carrying the regimental colors. It's about the horrors of war. It's about a guy who signed up thinking he was going to be a great soldier, and then he realizes the war actually sucks. I literally did that in a story, but I didn't do it like this. Yeah, from what I can see, basically, It's literally the most basic plot of guy goes to the war, guy flees from the war, guy comes back to the war, guy flees the war again. Not good. Not good. I don't like to condemn something I haven't read, but odds are this is not a story I would like very much. So, Dabkev, your opinion is not shit. For Gray Man, Fahrenheit 451. Gray Man, I despise you and the ground you walk upon. Fahrenheit 451 is a fucking fantastic book. It really talks about the degradation of intellectual, modern sensibilities, how people are slowly losing themselves and not retaining knowledge anymore, how they're slowly letting media consume their life instead of actually like actively like participating in intellectual discussions. And it takes those ideas to a logical extreme in order to show a somewhat unrealistic extreme of that, but it's a big metaphor for modern society and the intellectual degradation thereof, which is something that I personally feel a lot. As the only person of my generation who still reads books. Yeah, fuck you, Gray Man. Go die, please. I'm kidding. I love you. But your opinion is shit, my guy. It's shit. For Inquisitor Thomas, there's not any that come to mind that I actively dislike. There's probably a book I just forgot to read, which I suppose is fairly condemning in its own right. If I had to choose, then maybe The Road by Cormac McCarthy is bleak and doesn't use punctuation, and it doesn't have a great villain, like Anton Chigurh or The Judge. Let me look up The Road by Cormac McCarthy, because this is another one I haven't read. So, a father and his young son journey on foot across the post-Atlantic ash-covered United States sometime after an extinction event. The boy's mother, pregnant with him at the time of the disaster, committed suicide. Realizing they cannot survive the winter in northern latitudes, the father takes the boy south along interstate highways towards the sea, carrying their meager possessions. Father suffering from a cough, so he's gonna die. As they near starvation, concealed bunker, they stay there for several days. They reach the sea, a flare gun, the boy becomes ill, their cart is stolen. It just seems like just horrible things happen, the story. I haven't read it again, so I can't make any strong judgments, but from what Inquisitor Thomas says, it is very bleak and doesn't use punctuation, which is really obnoxious, frankly. I don't care what art you're trying to do. I only do the no punctuation thing in very specific moments of stories. If you're gonna do it throughout a lot of the book, oh god, Jesus Christ, fuck. A very common writing technique that a lot of that separates a lot of good writers from great writers is that great writers know that in order to really get bleakness across, you need to also have moments of happiness, have moments of joy, have moments of comedy to separate those bleak moments, or even just moments of lightness. Because if it's just bleak all the time, then you are not going to really convey the right emotion. It's just going to come off as very one tone and monotonous versus what you want. So for instance, my current project that I'm writing, Das Vidania, is a very, very bleak story, and it doesn't have a lot of comedy in it compared to the other stuff I've written. But I still very purposefully included several scenes of slightly more lighthearted tone, like the scene in chapter 5 when Maria's playing piano and Mishka walks in on her playing piano, or in, you know, like some in the ballroom scene as well when they did. Most of the lighthearted scenes are Maria and Mishka, and then I have Katya as well, who for the first half of the book acts kind of as the closest to a comic relief character Das Vidania has, who lightens the mood and makes things goofy occasionally with her rat. Oh, I really shook my desk there. But if you don't have any lighthearted moments to balance out the bleakness, it's just gonna read as just. And to be fair, maybe that was the point. I don't know. People are really pretentious sometimes, and I don't understand it. Anyway, that was the video. I did it, is the video. I have one more thing I need to do, though, before I end the video. Give me one moment. I promised Kronos that I would eat Necco wafers, because they said that they hated them in the last video, which was about candy. So, I'm going today to try a Necco wafer. Now, keep in mind that I really like Smarties. So, I might end up really liking those. Hold on. I mean, like, they're not, like, bad. But, like, It just tastes kind of like cinnamon, which was not a flavor I was expecting. Yeah, you know what, Cronus, your opinion is not shit. Those are kind of fucking weird. I can't believe I spent like $5 on this. Alright, cool. Well, thank you very much for joining me, everyone. And I will see you all next month for the next Your Opinion is Shit. Fare thee well. Special thanks go out to my priests of the hog and my elder hog prophets, Adra, Chronoton, Eshok7, Jonathan Hummel, Casey N. Moore, Ventus Agri, and Xavier Pena. And thank you to everyone else out there as well who's donated any money or watched my videos at all. Have a great day.